The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a very important NFC South clash versus the New Orleans Saints in week number 2 on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yesterday we got our first look at the Buccaneers injury report going into this week 2 matchup versus the Saints. Let's dive right in. The first name on this list was Tom Brady. It was a veteran rest day for TB12. He will be 100% ready to go versus the Saints in week number 2. Mike Evans was a limited participant in practice yesterday due to a calf injury, and as of the recording of this video today on Thursday, per pewterreport.com, Mike Evans was not seen at practice in Thursday's practice. So this could be a precautionary type thing. I would say it is good-ish news that Evans did participate in practice yesterday, but I would also say this is one worth monitoring going forward, and we'll probably get some more information on Friday and Saturday, but you have one day here where Evans was a limited participant, one day where Evans did not participate at all. It's going to be something worth monitoring. Leonard Fournette is nursing a hamstring injury. He was a limited participant in yesterday's practice, but all indications are that Fournette will be good to go versus the Saints in week number 2. For the Buccaneers, he was taken out, I feel, mainly as a precautionary reason in week number 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys. Towards the end of the game, Fournette should be good to go. Russell Gage did not participate in practice yesterday, but did participate in practice Thursday. That, I feel, is a good indication as to his availability moving forward. He was also dealing with a hamstring injury that he has been dealing with all the way back since preseason and training camp and whatnot. He is more likely than not going to be ready to go versus the Saints in week number 2, but it's still worth monitoring moving forward. Chris Godwin is also dealing with a hamstring injury. He did not participate in practice yesterday, nor did he participate in practice today. This is one that has already been talked about a lot here on the channel. Chris Godwin did sustain a hamstring injury in the Bucs week 1 matchup versus the Dallas Cowboys, and it is been seen as a few week-long injury to recover from. Some people see it as a week-to-week type injury. There's a lot of different thoughts and opinions going on right now regarding Godwin and how long it will take him before he is ready to play once again. I would imagine he's not going to be playing in week number 2 versus the Saints, but you never know. We'll just have to keep an eye on this and see how Godwin continues to recover from this hamstring injury that he did sustain in week number 1. Julio Jones did not participate in practice yesterday due to a knee injury, nor did he participate in Thursday's practice. This is another one worth monitoring. It is good news that Julio Jones was able to finish the game in week number 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys, but not necessarily great news here that he is missing 2 practices in a row. Could be because of precautionary reasons. They don't want him to hurt that knee anymore or rough up that knee anymore. Maybe they want him to just get a couple of days of rest before they are saying he is going to be able to practice and be ready to play versus the Saints. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. This is definitely another one worth monitoring as well, as the top 4 wide receivers the Buccaneers have right now, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Chris Godwin, are all dealing with injuries. Not great news to see there. Zyon McCollum was also dealing with a hamstring injury. He did not participate in practice yesterday, but was participating in practice today. McCollum, much like in the case of Russell Gage, was another player who was dealing with a hamstring injury throughout a good portion of training camp and preseason, and he is finally able to get some more practice time with the Bucs. This is good news. McCollum would be a welcomed depth addition along the cornerback room, as well as a decent special teams player, at least a guy you can get some looks at in that role as well. Wide receiver Breshad Perriman was a limited participant in practice yesterday, and he did participate in Thursday's practice as well with a knee injury. Again, now you have the 5th wide receiver on the Buccaneers dealing with a nagging injury, if you will. This is also going to be something worth paying attention to, as the 5 top receivers that the Buccaneers have are all dealing with an injury in some way, shape, or form, although I would expect at least half of them would probably be playing in this upcoming matchup. Breshad Perriman, I think, is a pretty decent lock to be available in week number 2. Donovan Smith did not participate in practice yesterday, nor did he participate in Thursday's practice as well, dealing with what is believed to be a hyperextended elbow that he sustained in week number 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys. This is one that's going to be worth monitoring for sure. I would say right up there with guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Todd Bowles said recently that it is going to be a pain tolerance thing for Donovan Smith as to whether or not he will or won't be able to play. Again, I've said this in previous videos. If there's ever a guy who would be able to go out there and really be able to grit his teeth, get through the pain, and play through a game, it would probably be Iron Man Donovan Smith. But the fact that he's missed 2 practices, let's pay attention to this one moving forward throughout the week as well. Finally, Tristan Wirfs, dealing with an abdomen injury, was a limited participant in yesterday's practice and did participate in Thursday's practice as well. Tristan Wirfs is still dealing with an oblique injury, I believe is what it was described as. He did play in week number 1, did very well in week number 1. I expect that he will probably be available in week number 2 as well. But I know people are probably going to panic. You see 5 of the top wide receivers the Buccaneers have on this list, and that is probably, causing a lot of panic, a lot of doubt. But, one important thing to note is that with these injury reports, guys are always dealing with nagging injuries time and time and time again throughout the weeks. It just happens at the end of the day. Great example here, the New Orleans Saints had a lot of people who were limited participants on their injury report. Guys like Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, Marcus May, Traquan Smith, Dwayne Washington, Jameis Winston. These were all guys who were limited. Cam Jordan was also limited. Then you had Paulson Adebo, who was not participating in practice for the Saints. So, it's safe to say that a lot of those guys will be practicing for the Saints or playing for the Saints in this upcoming matchup. A similar thing can be said for the Bucs here. Just because a guy is on an injury report does not automatically mean he's going to be doubtful to play in the upcoming game that they are scheduled to play in. It just means that they are dealing with an injury and they could be full participants later on in the week. You just have to pay attention to it moving forward. The teams that, have these injury reports, they put absolutely everything on these injury reports. So these guys could be full participants tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. But there are a couple that are worth monitoring, like Donovan Smith and like Chris Godwin, moving forward, going into the Bucs Week 2 matchup versus the Saints. But what do you guys think about this injury report? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. I would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.